Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock, and it's time for Hammer Away.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
All right. I hope everybody is having a good week so far. We're halfway there. You know, there's a weekend waiting around the corner. As you can see, we're talking about getting our shit together with Lisa Barca. However, there may be a little bit of a hiccup there. We may not have her with us today, but what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about her, and then I got a couple other things we can talk about today. So first off, let's start with the information, shall we? Let's get that done. All right. So here's a little bit about Lisa Barca. All right. She, a lifelong artist, writer, and singer, Lisa Barca, combines driving guitars with a voice that shifts seamlessly from an intimate whisper to a powerful belt and back again, leaving you energized, intrigued, and wanting more. This is what they, this is, obviously their press information. So I did not write this, and it's awesome. I'm just saying it does sound like I'm reading because I'm reading. Writing and performing melodic indie rock with radio-friendly pop hooks delivered with the raw energy and immediacy of punk. So I was listening to a bunch of the singles last night. There's a handful of singles out there on Spotify. So I was listening to those over and over last night. It was kind of fun. I was like, here we go. And it was a little different than I've been listening to Foreigner like constantly the last couple of days. We'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, I'm airdropping some stuff, so I'm trying to make sure it continues to roll. I was a couple of seconds behind because I didn't have a good signal for whatever reason. All right, so let me see here. She adds sophisticated arrangements and layers of vocal harmonies to produce recordings that have made her a fan favorite with a growing following. Her deceptively deep lyrics display a poeticism that transcends the status quo. Here we go. I'll keep going here. Barca started writing songs in a drafty studio apartment in a rough part of downtown New Haven, Connecticut. Playing them on sidewalks, so busking out there in Connecticut, in subways and in small clubs in the northeastern U.S., while also performing her poetry in coffee shops. There you go. Need to do my snap, but my snap sucks these days. My hands, they're classic, so they don't do what they should. Upon moving to Arizona, which is where she'll be coming to us if she makes it in here today with me, or when she does make it in soon, she founded a punk band in the satirical and brash vein of bands like the Dead Kennedys and Sleater Kinney. I've never heard of that one. Or is it Sleater Kinney? Sleater Kinney. When the pandemic began, she changed direction and focused on writing and recording songs with a pop sensibility and 90s radio rock vibe inspired by female artists of that era, such as Veruca Salt and Liz Phair. Catchy, lyric-driven, and melodic, with an edge and a heaviness and a brutally frank approach, which is where I got. If I wasn't trying to be disrespectful in the name of the show today, it's just a part of her lyrics, and so I thought it was kind of cool. When asked about her creative process, Barca reflects songwriting for me is about giving a shape and an outlet to emotions and finding a moment of transcendence amid the uncertainties and pain of living in this world. And recording and releasing those songs demands getting clear about what it means to assert an artist's identity. It's like, here I am, I'm putting myself out there to the world in a way that to me feels authentic and honest and defiant. It takes so much confidence, which I've worked to build up in myself. It's really wonderful as an artist to know that people are resonating that, she says. So, yeah. So, with a cache of well-crafted songs in hand, in 2022, Barca went into the studio to begin recording. She released her debut single, Clean and Clear, in November of 22, and it was immediately picked up by KWSS 93.9 FM in Arizona Rock and aired on the local spotlight. Well, there you go. The song wowed audiences with the literary prowess of its lyrics and its strong pop songcraft. Propelled by a nuanced, powerful vocal performance and mandolin licks. That's not what comes to my mind, though, when I'm listening to these songs. I want to tell you about that in here in a minute, and that's something I'll check in with her about when we do end up talking with her. Probably what I ought to do is double check and make sure she's not popped in. Okay, good. That'd be the worst thing would be me sitting here talking about, well, whenever, and there they are. So then next came Into the Ground, a second single released in June of 2023. Bold yet vulnerable, catchy yet complex. All right. So Beauty and Brains, a third single that came out in October 23. Blended infectious pop punk with musings on existential questions in a thoughtful yet self-deprecating way. Then there's, hold on a second, there's more here, but I don't have a new page here, so I'm gonna make it smaller so that I can get that stuff on there. So hang tight, I'll get the info. Barca is in the process of recording a full-length album slated for release in the summer of this year at Full Well Recording Studio in Phoenix, Arizona, with producer Colby Peoples. It's been a mind-bending, fruitful partnership working with Colby. She muses. He has an incredibly astute ear and knows exactly how to get the sounds needed for each track. An unexpected plus is that his immersion in prog metal, a la the band's Periphery, which I know about them, and Tesseract, which I don't know about, has inspired a very modern, complex, and multi-layered audio character to the recordings. It works surprisingly well with my songs, which are, at their core, in more of a power pop and 90s grunge and punk-inspired style. It's an unusual genre crossing sound. That's part of getting what's getting attention. So with this signature sound, increasing recognition and personality and perseverance to make big things happen, Barca is on her way to a major breakthrough. In addition to her musical endeavors, she is a professor of English and humanities and holds a PhD. Wow. She is also an advocate for animal rights who rescues special needs cats and has used her musical talent to raise money for animal sanctuaries. So there you go. There's a little background to Lisa Barca. Then we'll see if I was telling my buddy, even if she's available to pop in late, that's fine. All right. Let's see what we got in here today. Salvatore is with us. And there's Francois. This is awesome. Thank you, Salvatore. I was working on a piece of art to put up, and I didn't get the chance to finish it. But thank you. Yes, we're at 100, so we got to keep it rolling, keep it going. Kind of like on the movie FM. We just got to keep it rolling, keep it moving. That's a line from. It's a similar line that Eileen Brennan used when she was DJing in the movie FM at Tower Records, and REO Speedwagon did a cameo, and they're in that scene doing autographs from the live album. They're holding the live album while they're doing that. What's up, Francois? How's it going? So what I'm going to do here is we'll move forward. I told Dave, I'll talk about it. Check out the songs. Like I say, they're on Spotify. Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick, and I'll talk those up. There's a cool song that I've just gotten to. I've become familiar with it recently, and I've got more information as to how I got turned on to that song shortly. But it's a song for the Siren if anybody's ever heard that. It's an old sea shanty kind of track, and many people have covered it. So so many people have covered it that on Spotify, they have a playlist for a bunch of the different versions. I can't say they did all the versions because I don't know if that's true. I don't know how many versions there are and how many versions have been worked out that have never been recorded. Therein lies the other question. So, so anyway, let's see. I should keep that. Let's get rid of this. There we go. All right. Let's see here. The next thing. So let's get to Lisa Barca. All right. So if you look her up on Spotify, she's got a handful. Well, it's almost a handful of singles out there. And let's see here, singles and EPs. So you can go popular releases, show all. All right. So right now, as I'm looking at the list here, when I go to show all, it's got singles and EPs. It's got Party Day, which is a track from 2024. And then it has Beauty and Brains. And what happened here? What's going on? Why can't it? There it is. Oh, wow. You know, I've got this new stylus thing, and it is particular. It is not forgiving at all. Then we have Into the Ground, which we read about. And then, wow, I don't know what is going on with this thing. It's not on my good list right now. So I'm going to use can I do that? Nope. Of course not. Looks like I might have to put in my, my mouse. God, this is terrible. Into the Ground, Clean and Clear. And I think that's it. I think, because I listened to these songs over and over last night, as I mentioned. So good stuff though. Check it out. It's fun stuff. If you dig that punk pop edgy kind of stuff, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So the other day, I also checked out a video that had it was an interview from Lou Gramm, and somebody had asked him why he left Foreigner all those years ago. And what it kind of came down to was it was kind of the same thing that was happening with REO, with Styx. It was that same thing where it was going towards, hey, let's write a ballad. Oh, the ballad. Wow, a ballad just took off, and now everybody loves us, right? For Styx, it was, I suppose it was Babe 79, because they didn't have a ballad on in 78. They had two hits off of that record. If I remember right, there was the two. Well, they actually have three. And one of them is not really it's kind of a crooner tune, which is Boat on the River, which was very huge in a foreign country. Was it Spain? Was it really big in Spain or France or Portugal, maybe? Now that my son has been there and I know where the heck it is, I'm really not great with geography. I'm getting better, but there's a lot of things that I've discovered over the recent years when I've traveled that I'm like, oh, that's where that is. Okay. Going well. Love your channel. Yes. Thank you very much. I think it's going well too. I've got so many cool things that I'm getting ready to start working on. And of course, retirement's coming soon. Want to share it eventually in an Amico group. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. I was great it's great to get to triple numbers. That was awesome. So, but he was talking about, it was becoming way too keyboard centric, and they were just doing ballads, and there was a lot of stuff. He said that in this interview, he said that Mick Jones, which I've had the pleasure of meeting Mick a couple of times when they've toured through here via my buddy Jeff Pilson. Thank you, Jeff. And he just said that he bought all these different kinds of keyboards that were coming out. he was purchasing them. And of course, keyboard programming got done on Foreigner 4. There was some programming done there by Thomas Dolby. She blinded me with science. So that's kind of cool to know. And then Mick was just buying up all these keyboards and taking them home and working long, late hours like I've been doing the last couple of days. Shouldn't do that. But, and he would just come back in and just have, here it is. Now, in saying that, let's kind of take a trip through their albums. If you think about Foreigner, you've got, there's an Amico group, says Savage. Well, hold on a second. But the thing about it is you look at the first album, which, okay. All right. I'm sorry, but I got to go there right now. I'm pissed off, about something. I don't mind, like, let's take, for instance, way back in the early 70s. Let's take, for instance, Bachman Turner Overdrive 2. All right. On that album, they had Taking Care of Business, right? And let's go one step further. How about Ram Jam with Black Betty? Okay, there's another one. So you have these songs in the middle of Black Betty, there's a jam. And for Bachman Turner Overdrive, there was a little extra part within the song that made it too long for a single at the time. So they edited it out, just like they do thousands of other songs, tens of thousands of songs, however many there are, millions, gazillions, whatever. But they take these songs and they snip parts out. And then we of the album buying group purchase these records and get into these songs. Now, here's the weird part. Okay. It can go both ways. All right. So you hear the song on the radio, like, damn, I like that song. I'm going to buy that record. So you get out there and you buy the record. Now, maybe you're one of the people that just loves the band and you're going to buy the album anyway, or you've heard this song and you're like, damn, I'm going to get that record. Remember that part? So you go out and you buy this record. Now, either, let's just step back a second. Let's say you're that person that this is your band and you're going to buy this record anyway. I got into Scorpions late. I got into Judas Priest late. There were people who were into Judas Priest, people who were into Scorpions sooner than me. And so they were buying their records anyway, right? Well, you're into these bands and you're already going to buy the record. So you buy the record. Maybe they're hits on the radio. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's how you heard about it. I'm so sorry. This is kind of boop, beep, boop. I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's only because I keep thinking of little aspects about it. So let's just say you love the band. You go out and you buy the record. Okay. You listen to their song. Ooh, this is a hit. I've heard it's a hit, but I haven't heard it much on the radio. You put the record on. You're like, cool, awesome record. Now you're driving around and you haven't made a cassette of it or whatever, and you don't have it in the car, but you hear it on the radio. There's your tune from your favorite band. And all of a sudden it goes, boop. And you're like singing along and you're like, whoop, wait a minute. What just happened? So on Foreigner, there's a couple of spots within Feels Like the First Time where it gets cut. And it's just a little shorter here and it's more immediate here. Okay, that's fine. You got a single and you have to sell it on the radio. I get it. Not a problem. However, here it is decades later. And now I go to see them live and they're playing the single version. I can get over that. I get it. Cut the show down a little bit, play the single version so you can play more songs. Well, the problem with it was on one of the tours, they just dicked around with Jukebox Hero for a long overdone. I mean, the eggs were burnt. I was like, and my wife was pissed. She's like, that's my favorite song. She goes, I just want to hear the song. I don't want to hear all that other stuff. Right? We all have our ways of looking at it. Okay. So now let's go back and let's say you're that person that hears a single and you're like taking care of business, for example, or feels like the first time, for example. And then you're listening to this song, you get used to it this way. And there's snip here and snip here. Now you put on the record and you're like, whoa, Black Betty. Whoa, there's a whole jam in there. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so the single version, but I got the album version. So cool. Okay. These things are cool. These things are neat. They can be. Sometimes with the stuff that they cut out, whatever. I'm like, okay. So now when they play it live, they play the single version. It's fine. It's your song. Do whatever you want with it. That's cool. I understand why. However, now if you go onto Spotify, you can't even find the full version of Feels Like the First Time. It's the single version when you're listening to the record. You put on that full first album, the debut Foreigner album. It's the single. You don't even get to hear the whole thing if you wanted to. And I like that. I don't need to hear a snippy snip version, that's, had its balls cut off. I don't need that out there. So, I mean, thank God I've got the original CD and I've got the original vinyl. I mean, this is another reason, folks, that you may want to watch what you have and not think only digital. You can continue to do that. Please do if that fits within your lifestyle. But I'm telling you, it's pissing me off that when you have streaming services that don't have the original version of the album in there, that's a problem to me. Just saying. I'm sure the band okayed it and everything was cool with them, but for us, the listeners, to not even have it available on that service when you have the whole album, that's an issue for me. Anyway, so I got into Foreigner, so I made a whole playlist. But Lou Gramm was talking about things getting too keyboardy, and it's true. If you listen to the last album that had Lou Gramm on it before Gary Moon came in, who also worked with Night Ranger. If you listen to that album, there's a lot of things on there. I'm going to preface it with this. There's a lot of songs on there that are not as upbeat, but that album kicks ass. I think Inside Information came out in 1987, I do believe. You know what? I can look right over here and it'll tell me. So if I'm going here, God, I don't like us doing that. Let's see all, because 1984 was Agent Provocateur and everything. Wow, this is just really sadness. It's sadness. Because I gotta get this thing to go all the way down. I was thinking about trying to get my Foreigner shirt on, but I have this other shirt on, and I have this shirt on for a reason. So I'll get into that in just a minute. But in the meantime, I am just having I got bad words. I have bad words to say, people. I just wanted to take a quick check and see if she may have popped in. Oh, geez, this is terrible. Scroll, you dog, scroll. Okay. See, I'm halfway down. I got to get this thing figured out and find out what's happening. Okay, there's a faster way to do it. But now I'm going to probably run right past it. Yay, that makes me happy. Okay, because I'm getting all the albums that they did. There's Mr. Moonlight, 1994. Not like anybody even cares anymore. I mean, I like that record. That's not my point. My point is that I haven't gotten to this freaking record that I'm looking for, and nobody cares anymore. Unusual Heats. Mr. Moonlight's the one where Lou Gramm came back. Unusual Heat is the one that came out without him. Inside it, 1987. See, all that way just to find out that I was right. 1987. But it has Heart Turns to Stone, Can't Wait, Say You Will. I love that song. What a great hit that is. And then I Don't Want to Live Without You, which was another big hit. It was their ballad hit. Now, this album has a couple of ballads on it. Counting Every Minute, that kicks ass. Inside Information is great. The Beat of My Heart's great. Face to Face is a great tune. Out of the Blue is the second big, nice, easy ballad. And then boom, A Night to Remember comes, and that's a killer track. In the vein of, say, Nightlife from Double Vision is Night to Remember. It's very, very upbeat, very lover boyish, kind of, you know. Agent Provocateur was a great record, but it didn't sell as well as Foreigner 4. And Foreigner 4 was just the album before it. I just remember when it was out, there weren't a lot of hits from it. That was Yesterday, and of course it had its ballad hit, which was the one that followed up Waiting for a Girl Like You. Let's see here. Yeah, I Want to Know What Love Is. So, and also there was the three main singles from that album were That Was Yesterday, I Want to Know What Love Is, and Reaction to Action. Reaction to Action's an interesting one too, because they put out a single version, which was really kick-ass. It comes in with that bum, bum, bump, and then it goes quiet, and you hear them go, oh, shoot. God, I had it in my head just a second ago. Take one, take, yeah, that's what he does. He goes, take one, like that. And that's really cool. So, but on the album, it's not like that, because I was saying it to myself when I was listening to it. But yeah, so you start off with the first album, then you have Double Vision. Lou was saying everything was pretty much guitar driven, and he was from a band like that. Before he was in Foreigner, he was in a band called Black Sheep, who had a couple of albums. Check them out. Good records. So early 70s, so called Black Sheep. And in fact, I can just do a search here for that. So he was doing that. So that's kind of why he joined up. He was like, yeah, I could move on with this and do it. Artists, let's see. Why don't just do it as artists? And then you got to find the right one, because there's a bunch of stuff in here for people called Black Sheep. So then the third album, Head Games, came out, and there was some keyboardy stuff on that, more keyboardy stuff on that. But then Foreigner 4 hit, and there was a lot more keyboard things coming through. There it is. I think that's it with Lou Gramm. They had 2 albums, I think. Show All. Here we go. Nope, that's not them. That's not it. So, and I'm about through with that thing. So, yeah. And then Foreigner 4, and then the Agent Provocateur, which had some more keyboard things on it, and the big ballad. And then they did that Inside Information. Check it out. Mr. Moonlight was a good record. It had some good stuff on it too. Not a great record. Not like I feel like Inside Information was a great record. In fact, I started the playlist with that album that I made, and I just dropped albums in. I just put all the albums in, because I think they're all good, except for those newer ones. Unusual Heat, I didn't put that in there, and I didn't put Mr. Moonlight just because I wasn't thinking about them at the time. Stashnet, where have you been hiding? Long time no see. I would say that's correct. And Emma Jade came back. I'd seen her recently. So, oh man, it's great to see you. Been away from YouTube for a bit, but saw you were on, so dropping in for a bit. Thank you. I really appreciate that. We have kind of just a jumbled bag of stuff today, because I was going to have a guest today, but that didn't work out. But I did download some photos to show you guys because of a really super cool hang. Should I jump into that now? Should I do that? I threw my my new Conquest stuff on. And then I showed you guys this. I haven't put this on yet, but God, it was in brand new condition. I showed it the other day on a Lightning News Flash. I got this Rock in Rio Iron Maiden live vinyl. And it's not this isn't a cheap thing, but I got a pretty good price. I didn't realize, what a good price. I got it for like 50% of the buying it new. So also, guys, let me know, would you guys be interested in this? So I like doing puzzles. And so I thought maybe one time we'll just talk music and I'll point the camera down at a table and we could put together a puzzle while we talk music. So like this one, I found this Infinity War one. I thought that would be really cool. So following on YouTube now. Cool. Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Francois. So anyway, I thought about doing that. Let me know if you think that would be a fun idea. So I'm going to select some more of these photos and drop them in so that you guys can check some of these out. Over the weekend, I had a very awesome experience. Tell me, what was your last awesome experience? Just write it in there. Put it in. What was your last awesome experience? StashNet. I was doing one at school today, actually, with a good friend of mine. She's one of our new folks at school. And I just really respect her, and I really enjoy working with her. She's got a great attitude. So to Ms. Cummings. So we were putting together one that had different sweet treats and stuff like that come in boxes. So let me see if I can do this here real quick. I'm going to send them over. If you're going to hear a boop, boop, boop. All right. There you go. Boop, 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 boop. All right. So tell me what was your latest awesome adventure? So I have a friend of mine, you know of him, Ron. I've spoken about him on the show before because his brother-in-law is Robert Barry, which is not the reason that I would talk about him, but it's the reason he's come up on this show. That's most of the times Ron comes up is when we're talking about his brother-in-law, Robert Barry. And let's see here. Okay, that's going to take a second. So, like I say, I don't know what's going on with the signals today. Things are funky. I've often thought about that too. What would life be like if the internet just went down, like in Escape from LA, which I didn't think was a great movie, but I own it. It's right up there in my Laserdisc section. So I have both of them. I have Escape from New York and Escape from LA on Laserdisc. I'm gonna have to put those in. Here you go. Thank you, StashNut. Last awesome thing I did was go to PAX East. Was a ton of fun, tiring, but fun. Very cool. Very cool. Well, my friend Ron also does a lot of work with the Funny Bone. So he works with a lot of comedians. He'll taxi them around and make sure they get to where they are and make sure that they're all set up, right? He's worked with Andrew Dice Clay and a couple other people. He gets them interviews here in town with one of the local stations, which is just over there. And which reminds me, I need to start working on that again. And so he was having Aaron Hagar come in. Now, Aaron is not he is Sammy Hagar's son, and looks a lot like him. It's so wild to see him. And I had talked to Ron very early on this, and I think I've mentioned on here before. We were talking about being one of the bands, being a band to back him up. And however, it worked out differently. There was another band here in town that's a great bunch of guys too. I mean, there's great bands with great people in them in this town. It's a great town for bands and cool people. So that's the reason I wore this shirt. They're going to be on the show. Divine Sorrow ended up being the band to back him up, and they did a killer job. They're a bunch of great guys. It was very nice to hang out with them. So get out there. You can check them out. They're out there on Spotify and other places, YouTube and whatnot. But Divine Sorrow. They have 3 albums out, and it is heavy duty, really cool stuff. Just I don't know what other words to use. But it's just cool stuff. Brian, am I saying it, Brian? Brian Chappell is their lead vocalist. Now on here, let's see, they have 7 Deadly, and then they have Tales of Dissension. They have 3 albums in total, but I think on here they may only have 2 of them. Yeah. So there you go. But enjoy those. I'm eager to hear 7 Deadly because I heard that early on when they were when it was just the tracks and it wasn't in the right order and everything. And I remember telling my friend who passed away about a year ago, and their drummer had become a really good friend of his, and they'd gotten to become really great friends. And then when he passed, it was rough. So, but I was on a car ride with this gentleman that was managing them at the time, and he played me the music, and I said, "There's your last track right there. That's the story you may have already heard on here." But he was like, "No, we're going to do it this song." I go, "Okay, but I'm telling you, that's your last track right there." So I'm eager to listen to it again and know what that song was, because it was that song that made you wanting more, right? So Ron told me that Aaron was going to be coming into town, so I knew that was coming, and then it came sooner than I was anticipating, and it was happening when my grandson was born, and soon after that, which meant we weren't going to be here. So I made a plan, and everything worked out great. It wasn't like I was, bad grandpa and left. I made a plan because I had to work. So and I didn't want I had to take the dog somewhere else, blah blah blah, all that stuff. You know how it goes. So I got back home, and on Saturday had the chance to go over. I'm going to see if I can pull up some of these photos again. The signal isn't so great today, and I don't know why that it is not. See, I mean, I'm even hitting add overlay and it's not doing anything. Okay, I get the spinning deal. So what I'm going to do is I have to go into downloads here. Oh, and I have to do this too. So Aaron was going to come into town. They were going to do a rehearsal because he was going to be talking about his life as Sammy's son and how that was and dealing with that. He did a great job talking about that stuff. People were laughing. It was, it was well played. He did a great job. And he had some photos with him, some rare photos that we had never seen. So that was really cool too. And the show sold out. It was great. It was a lot of fun. So what I have to do here is interesting. Okay. All right. So, all right, there's one. Let's just do this. Let's figure out the best one, You got to see which one everybody's going to like. So let's do this one. All right. So then he had a list of songs, like 8 songs, and he handed them over to Divine Sorrow. Divine Sorrow pulled out. He's like, we'll end up playing this many of these. And so that's what happened. So they ended up playing, what did they play? 4 or 5 songs. I think it was maybe 5. And they, Aaron Hagar and his wife Misha was there. She's very, very nice. She's from the Czech Republic. All right, so I'm going to have to convert that real quick. Quick actions, convert image. Yes, I want it at its actual size and a JPEG, and boom, there we go. All right. Now I can add that in and show you. So that's how that worked out. They came in, they learned those songs, they rehearsed on Saturday. So before I got out there, it was my buddy got a hold of me and he said, okay, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to show up at 3:00. Okay, check. Here you go. There's Aaron and his wife, Misha. This is obviously me. And over on the other side is my friend. She's a bodybuilder. If you can't tell from there, she's a bodybuilder, and I was in a church band with her. That is my friend Karis, and we're looking to get her into some competition stuff. She already does a bunch, but I'm going to see if we can help her with some sponsorship stuff. So if anybody knows about that stuff, let me know. So they did the rehearsal, and then he said, we'll have something to eat. They're going to do a cookout thing. And then you'll drive Aaron and Misha back to where they're staying, which is right by where the show was. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Awesome. And everything went as scheduled. So we had a great ride back to where they were staying, and had a great chat on the way. So then the next day, the show was on Sunday, and I got there early, and we set everything up, and they showed up. They had a meet and greet and all that stuff, and so it was really, really, really cool. They opened up with a Montrose tune. They opened up with Rock Candy, which is kind of a song. When I thought about being in a live band, my dad and I were going to a baseball game, and there was a band outside playing, and they were playing Rock Candy. And I'm like, man, this is before I was playing. I think it was before I was playing. And I fell in love with it. I'm like, I want to do that. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be a musician, but I just couldn't focus in on it. I couldn't do it. That kind of, I don't know, it kind of bothered me. Is there anything that you guys can tell me, is there anything that went that way for you, where you're like, something I've always wanted to do? Maybe it is playing music. I always say it's never too late, So then the show went off really well, and everybody really enjoyed it. Here is my staff shirt. I thought you guys like to see this. This was a great looking shirt. There you go. It's at the Funny Bone, Streets of St. Charles. There you go. It's got the date on it. All right. Keishi, they had a couple of the DJs there from the morning show. And there you go. Aaron Hagar with Divine Sorrow. Yep. And staff. Then they had these available. So I picked up one of these for me, and I bought one for my friend as well to get autographed. They had these posters, and I had Divine Sorrow signed it, as well as Aaron did. And Aaron's just really cool. Great to talk to, very friendly. We've been keeping in touch and stuff like that. So it was great to talk to him about his dad. And I met Sammy a few different times. A couple times when he was at a show here at Riverport, and then a couple other times where we went down to where he was signing his book. We went to the book signings, 2 different places. So it was pretty cool. Super cool dude. Yeah. So that was that. And the songs came off really well. It was one of those things. And then the rehearsal was fun because I got to sing with them a little bit. I did some background vocals, which I was hoping wasn't going to piss anybody off. So that's that. So I'll have more pictures of that, and I'll make a little video, and I'll put that out there, and you guys will have a cool little video of that and stuff. I just didn't, like I say, I didn't think I'd be going over that right now. Now, the last thing I want to go over today, this could be a short show. I haven't had a lot of sleep in the last couple of days on purpose, just because I've been doing things. I had some work to do, and then setting up for this show, and setting up for my upcoming gig. If anybody's going to be through St. Louis on Star Wars Day, which is May 4th, if you'll be around, we're going to be playing. My band is playing at the St. Charles Music House. So there you go, big St. Charles Music House thing. The other thing that doesn't ever make sense to me, and I may reach back here and grab one thing real quick. So hang tight with me. Hi, Punky, what's up? My cat's here. Come here. You want to say hi? Cat wants to say hi. Come here. We match. Our hair matches. Here, come here. Come here. you can say hello. Oh, and there's my dog. There he is. Say hi, Punky. What's up? Yeah. Say hi. You want to say hi? There you go. Come here. So you can say hi. My dog's got to say hi. Hi. How are you? Yeah. Are you good? Yeah. Should I get the record out? I'll get the record out. Here we go. So it's a record called Heavy Metal. Came out in 1974. It was a Warner Brothers release. Had tons of songs on it. And I have since mentioned it on the show, I think once. I've made my own CD version of it because I added some songs. Because the album is rather ridiculous. It's corporately ridiculous. And I think it's actually moved up here now. Because there's Head East. There's this Heavy Metal. See that Heavy Metal? That's not it. Where is it? It's right here. I got it. I got it. All right. So there's this Heavy Metal, which is amazing. Talk about a great album. There's every song is just outstanding. If you don't own it yet, do it. Do it. But this one is the one I'm talking about. Heavy Metal. So it's called Heavy Metal, right? You can see that. It's called Heavy Metal. It's got this little rock and roll dude down here that don't look so heavy metal, but whatever. But you notice what it says here. 24 electrifying performances. There may be electrifying performances, but they're not all heavy metal. So you've got the Allman Brothers. Okay. Heavy metal. Do you remember this part? The heavy metal part? Okay. Just checking. Black Sabbath. Oh, the godfathers of metal, right? There you go. Blues Image. Blues Image. Yeah. Not heavy metal. Not heavy metal. Ride Captain Ride is what's on here. So not heavy metal. Buffalo Springfield. Oh, now that is that's a rock and roll band, right? Yeah. That's not metal. I know who Buffalo Springfield is, by the way. Alice Cooper. Okay. I'll give you that. Alice Cooper. Deep Purple. Definitely. Smoke on the Water, I think, is what's on here. Their live version of Smoke on the Water. Yeah. You ready? It gets better. Here you go. You ready? Heavy metal. Remember? Delaney and Bonnie. Delaney and Bonnie. That sounds heavy metal, doesn't it? Delaney and Bonnie. No, it really doesn't. No. Yeah. The Doors. Totally questionable. Maybe at certain moments, barely metal. Here you go. Are you ready? Eagles. That's not, yeah. Not metal. Faces. That's completely not metal. Foghat. Foghat. They do What a Shame on here, which is not metal. Jay Giles Band. Oh, that's completely not metal. Golden Earring. I mean, it's Radar Love, but Grateful Dead. Now, Jimi Hendrix. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you Jimmy because of all the styles of playing and things like that, right? The James Gang. That's a rock and roll band. That is not a heavy metal band. I'm sorry. This one just makes me laugh. Dr. John. I'm telling you, it's right there. Dr. John. Now the next two on point, right? You saw them right there. There was a little preview. Led Zeppelin. and MC5. MC5 totally. Actually, I think Blue Oyster Cult did a version of Kick Out the Jams on their On Your Feet or On Your Knees album, if I remember correctly. Their double live album from many years ago when they were on I think they were on the Agents of Fortune tour. And I think they did a version of Kick Out the Jams on there. They've just released a new record and it's on there too. So they've recorded a new version of that song and put it on there. Now, the funny thing about this is I may have talked about it on this show before, but it's funny because for years, all I heard was kick out the jams, brothers and sisters, right? Well, that was some major edit that they did to make it a single, to put it, especially to have it on here. Because then here, years later, I looked that song up. Oh yeah, MC5. I need a deep dive into MC5. I've still never done that. Still, Kick Out the Jams is really the only thing that I know by them, right? Never, I should have. Budgie is another one I should get into. I got to deep dive into those guys. I got to deep dive into a lot of those classic bands that were there that are really KC classics here in town in St. Louis. But then I heard the original album version because I was putting that my own compilation together. I was adding songs, right? I'll get into that. I'll do that on some later show. I'll go through that with you and what I added and stuff. But and I listened to the original one and he says, "Kick out the jams, mothers and you motherfuckers." And I was like, wow, okay, that's a big difference. Big difference. Here you go. Why? What? How? I don't know how big was that stogie the dude was smoking when they said, here's what we're thinking about putting on it, or why don't you put them on it because they're real popular and we want to push them. And I could imagine this would be me if they're like, okay, Johnson, you're in charge of the heavy metal album. Frickin-tastic. All right, I'm going to put these guys on. I'm going to put these guys on. I'm going to put these guys on it. And then I take it into the meeting. I go, okay, this is what heavy metal is. We got Led Zeppelin. We got Deep Purple. We've got Black Sabbath, MC5. You're like, cool, here we go. This is it. Got Alice Cooper, right? And then they go, no. That stuff has to go. That Kiss stuff, that can't go on there. We have to push Buffalo Springfield. We should push that. And why don't we put Van Morrison on there? That's heavy metal, isn't it? You're like, what the hell are you thinking? The last ones are T-Rex. Okay, I can give you that one. Uriah Heep totally can give you that one. I mean, that's great stuff. War never sang a song called Why Can't We Be Heavy Metal? Ever. They never did that. Why would you put War on it? War is probably out there going, why would you put that on there? Do you think Van Morrison thinks about this record and goes, yeah, I remember I was on this record. It's called Heavy Metal. It was in 74. That's not happening. I was really proud of that. He's not doing that. And finally, yes. I sure would like to, I should see if I can get a hold of somebody that was around when they put this record out. So let's see if we can, and this says, okay, so this was part of a Superstars of the 70s. It's amazing that I've had this album this long and never really thought about this part of it. On the back here, it says Volume 2, Superstars 70s, with an apostrophe. You don't put an apostrophe there. You don't need to. It's just 70s. It's like 70s what? Hi, I'm 70s and I have cheese. It's 70s cheese. I'm 70. That's when you put an apostrophe. You don't need an apostrophe. So what do we have? Concept art. Concept and album design is Bill Harvey. So maybe we can find out who Bill Harvey is. Tape assembly is Bruce Morgan and Terry Donovan. Terry Donovan also did the mastering. It's used Electra sound recorders, not the kind you blow into, the kind you record on. Then special thanks to the Stogie Smokers at Warner Brothers Records. But anyway, they have Clyde Bacimo, or Bacamo, David Burson, David Hersher, Mike Olivieri, John Salstone, and Don Schmitzerl. Schmitzerl. David Geffen was on this project. Let's give David Geffen a call and go, what the hell? You and Mel Posner were there. What the hell was going on? And then from Atlantic Records, they had Jim Delhant, Jerry Greenberg, Jerry Wexler. And also thanks to Barry Hansen, Abe Hotch, and Michael Ox for not saying, this is a shitty idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love this record and I love all these songs. These are great songs, but they aren't heavy metal. You know this. People who don't know this know this. I'm sorry. So what that does is it leads me into, then this is something that I picked up. I think I got it at the library for 50 cents. It's a double album of what's called, again, heavy metal. Cool what? Cool rock. All right. Cool rock. Not cool whip, but cool rock. Let's just take a look at what they think rock is. All right. And yeah, you know, I'm going to need this again. So first off, we have Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Okay. Joe Cocker did rock music, right? This Up Where We Belong. So this is a bunch of 80s, basically. It's you know, yacht rock stuff, what they would consider yacht rock. But even the it's not rock. Let's just do that. Okay. Naked Eyes. They're not rock. That's pop. Bordering on new wave. Pop. Club Nouveau. Not rock. Thompson Twins. Really pop. With a little bit of stuff in there, though. Some of their songs, I suppose, had more of a rock edge. Some of their songs were a little heavy hitting. You know, they had some really cool guitars, which were, I'll consider the Fix. I'd consider them rock. So Thompson Twins sometimes had some of that same kind of guitar sound. And it was good. I really enjoy them. Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. Glass Tiger. That's rock. That song was written by Bryan Adams and Valance, I do believe. Teddy Pendergrass. I'm just going to let you know that when I do that, it means it's not rock. Kool and the Gang. Christopher Cross. That's a rock guy because he did Ride Like the Wind. And Ride Like the Wind not only had Michael McDonald on backgrounds, who sang a ton of the soundtrack of my life, sang on that, but it was covered by Saxon. If you haven't heard Saxon's version, check it out. It's good. It's good. Cool rock. You ready? Tiffany. I mean, when I want to rock out, it's Tiffany. Just the name instills that thought in my head. Joey Scarberry. Roxette. Not rock. Okay, the next two, one is, one isn't. I'll let you decide. Culture Club and the Motels. Which one do you think is rock? This one is definitely rock. The Tubes. Ashford and Simpson. I go for that every time. I just want to just have a kick-ass rock time. Ashford and Simpson. Okay. Gets better. Sergio Mendes, of course. Def Leppard and Sergio Mendes on tour this summer. Not happening. Oh, hold on. Wilson Phillips. Yeah, with the song Hold On. See what I did there? I didn't have to. Oh, now this one, this is a rock band. And if you haven't done a deep dive into these guys, please do, because it's really good stuff. Ambrosia. Now, this is a ballad, Biggest Part of Me. That's not like but we were talking about ballads earlier by rock bands. Definitely not one of their big rock songs, but a huge song for them. And definitely a rock band is Toto. Same with, they do have Africa on here. Can't Fight This Feeling, REO Speedwagon. That's rock. Krista Berg, rock. Lady in Red is what's on here, the ballad. But if you've not made yourself familiar with the song Don't Pay the Ferryman, totally rock. It's great stuff. Also a great cover by Dominion of that song. Check it out. Private Dancer, Tina Turner. I'm going to give it to Tina Turner. She rocked. Cutting Crew. They have some cool rock stuff. I'm down with that. John Waite, definitely. Even though it's Missing You, that's fine. That's his ballad, and he's a rocker. Little River Band, Cool Change. Even when they were doing having some of their big hits with real easy listening ballads, they rocked out on those albums. Like Sleeper Catcher has some great rock stuff on it. Corey Hart, I'll give that. I'll be okay. Blondie, definitely. God, yeah. Spandau Ballet. I like them. They are great. Rock. Maybe it's because I haven't deep divin. Wow. No, I haven't deep dived enough. Deep divin. That just came out of my mind. That sounds like a band or an artist, right? I know, the name's Deep Divin. I like it. Marty Ballin, of course. Marty Ballin. Atlanta Lady is what they have on here. Something About You. I don't remember that song. I'll have to listen to that. But Marty Ballin from Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. Chariots of Fire by Vangelis. I'm not going to argue that one. Dan Hartman, I Can Dream About You, is one of my all-time favorite 80s hits. That ranks right up there with something. Oh man, I need to think about this. Something About You. I Can Dream About You. Interesting. And I told you about the song because the woman I work with told me she wrote that song. What is it? Why can't I say it now? Oh, this is disgusting. It's originally, Cyndi Lauper recorded it and had a big hit with it. Time After Time. Thank you. I appreciate whoever told me that. Taylor Dane. She was more of a edgier side of pop. I'll give that to him. And then of course, James Ingram and Patty Austin, not rock. Al Green. He was on that soul side of maybe rock. I don't know, but it's just strange. So these albums that come out and people are like, "Well, use that." I want to know who was in the background going, don't do that. So then lastly, what I want to share with you is one that I put together. This is called Smooth Rock and Cool Grooves. I have 2 volumes of these that I did. So here's what it is. These are tunes where it's like they just glide along. So first I have Lunatic Fringe, because it's got that rolling rhythm to it, right? Lunatic Fringe, I know you're out there. And it's that doo 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 doo, and that's what it is, right? Doesn't go too far off on a hard edge, but just good rock with that kind of rolling you down the road. Touch and Go by ELP. That's Emerson, Lake and Powell. Aim High, Shoot Low, which is from Big Generator by Yes, comes next. Radio Gaga by Queen. Let's see, what do we have? Skate Away, one of my all-time favorite Dire Straits tunes, Skate Away. Then we have Shooting Shark by Blue Oyster Cult, which is, again, very similar to like Lunatic Fringe. What a great bunch of bass work on that. That's what I want to come up with Lisa Barca when we talk. Because there's some, when you listen to that, it's the bass. I'm not going to say that the bass sounds exactly like it, but it's predominant and it's wonderful. Back to the days of Joe Jackson, when he did I'm the Man, and especially Look Sharp for me. Great bass lines, great recording by David Kirschbaum of those bass lines. And when you listen to her stuff, there's some really, really cool bass lines in there, and very well recorded. Voices by Russ Ballard. If you're not familiar with Voices by Russ Ballard, check that out. You're familiar with Back in the New York Groove, so he wrote that, and many other things that I've talked about here. Hopefully I'll have him on the show, which goes back to our 100 subs. It's great to be in the triple numbers. Keep it up. Keep liking the videos. That all that stuff helps to be able to build this channel and make sure it's something that people look at and go, ooh. Crash and Burn by Pat Travers Band comes next. Let's see, Red Sector A by Rush, a cool now I want to listen to this now. Third Degree by Gamma. Deeper and Deeper by The Fix. There it is. Love that song. Came off of Streets of Fire. Was not on a regular record for them. It was on Streets of Fire soundtrack, which you remember I bought that recently on vinyl. And but it was also appeared on their Greatest Hits album. One thing leads to another. Let me see. We have Black Widow. Speaking of Jefferson Starship, if you've never heard Black Widow, I believe it's from Winds of Change by Jefferson Starship. It's just a great, oh man, what a great tune that is. Lead vocals done by Grace Jones. Silent Running by Mike and the Mechanics. What a great, smooth rock, cool groove tune. And A View to a Kill. I enjoyed that tune by Duran Duran. Because those guys, that's a rock band. That's a rock pop band right there. Volume 2 starts with After the Fire, which was a song by Roger Daltrey. Another song that I can't put it on this because it's a little more bombastic. And that's a song by Roger Daltrey I really like, Quicksilver Lightning, from the movie Quicksilver with Kevin Bacon. Mysterious by Scorpions is next. So we have After the Fire by Roger Daltrey, written by Pete Townsend. And then you have Mysterious by Scorpions, which was from a very interesting release. It wasn't a bad record, but it was that weird one where when I spoke to Matthias backstage on the tour, I said, what do you think of the new album? And he says, I like it. I just don't, he didn't feel that it felt like it was finished. It's produced by Peter Wolf, speaking of Jay Giles' band, which was an interesting crossover. I'm not going to say that. I'll bring it up another time. Perfect Strangers. What a great, cool tune that is by Deep Purple. Twilight Zone. There's your golden earring tune that fits. Yeah, Radar Love does fit close to that heavy metal, so I can give it to him, but it's a better choice than Van Morrison. I love Van Morrison, but not heavy metal. Crazy by Seal. I thought it was great. Seal just did some wonderful stuff. Bullet the Blue Sky by U2. I Still Believe by Tom Capello, and is in the soundtrack for Lost Boys. Then let's see, Goodbye Saving Grace. If you've never listened to the Wishes album by John Butcher, do it. It's a great record. The follow-up was good too. Division Street was good, but that, now I want to listen to that. Let's see. If You Want It by Lenny Kravitz comes next, and the last track on the second one is Look at Us Now by Joe Walsh. So kind of interesting. That's my smooth rock, cool grooves, volumes 1 and 2 that I love. I love putting that stuff together, and you do your own graphics for the cover, blah, blah, blah. You know, I wish I had a good color printer, and then I'd use it. But yeah, that's that. But some interesting things. If you, want to know about any more of those tunes, you can rewatch to this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to, one of the things I need to start attending to is my Facebook page a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I will starting today, I'll put a link out there. I'll put the video out there on the Facebook page. So I'll just start at the top, and I'll just do that, and I'll just put them out there, and you'll have them there. You can check it out. So I'll keep in touch with you guys about when Lisa will be here next week. I do believe is going to be the 24th, and I have a friend of mine, Dave Cowles, is scheduled so far with me to be on the show next week. So I'll be checking back in with him today. It's been very busy lately. I'll check in with him again today and make sure that we're good for that. Dave Cowles, a blues guitar player who lives out west now, but used to live here. He was someone who booked the bands in the area and also was a musician here. And one of his bands that he had here was Petty Cash. So they played stuff from Tom Petty and Johnny Cash. So it's pretty cool. So Dave will be with me. And then I'm working on some other stuff after that. I think and then soon we'll be having Bethany Heavenstone will be on the show, and we'll start our series that we are going to be doing. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for everybody who popped in. Salvatore, Francois, and Stashnet. So great to see you again. I don't know if you're still here. You may have moved on to something else, but just remember, always great to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, throw them in. Give it a like today for the video. If you liked what you saw, do a subscription. Why not? While you're at it. And then if you really dug it and you want to keep tuned in, make sure you hit the notification. In the meantime, guys, I am going to be getting myself something to eat, and I'm going to be getting ready for Go Game Go, which is going to be coming a little later, 2 o'clock Central Time. So check out Go Game Go here soon. These are the things we got coming up. If you have anything that you'd want to know about, pop in here. Ask me some questions. Let me know what you want to hear, or put it in the comments down below. And I'll start taking a look at those and see what we've got. I'll compile them and see what kind of fun stuff can come up on the show. You guys take it easy. Remember, when you step outside your door, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. Take it easy, guys.